Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. I'm excited because today, Joe's back. Look who's back in town. How you doing?
Updates.
Up-
We got a lot of updates to go over because we skipped
yeah,
a
I
month.
feel like when I've just been recording by myself, I can't get into all the things that I want to. That I don't know, life, fitness, all the other things. I've just been hitting it hard on going over the content. So for everyone listening today, what we're going to be going over, kind of two things. One, we are going to hit on updates, just our updates, Garage Gym Athlete updates, personal life training updates, those kind of things. And then after we go over the updates, we'll be talking a little bit about Project Delta. So I told you more content was coming. Team would be talking about it. Joe's going to actually be the interviewer today, and I'm going to be the interviewee, and he's going to ask me some questions about Project Delta, again, just to help all the athletes start to wrap their head around what's coming. So let's start with updates. I haven't heard from you in a minute, Joe. Like, how's life and how's training?
Weather's made surprisingly, even though this is Spain, this is like their bad weather season, so like a lot of rain, a lot of high winds. So like not much running going on, but it's sort of, I don't know if it's well timed because my heel pain has somewhat returned. So
Dude, I
if you
feel like we haven't recorded in months, and you were hurt. Like,
it's a
this is
bone
just like
spur.
all
The bone
going
is still
on.
there. Yeah,
You
the
can't
bone spur
remove the
hasn't gone
bone.
anywhere.
Just like
Well, you
just
can.
like
The only
open it up, shave it down. You're good to
You
go.
can. So if I did that option, they'd have to detach my Achilles, and I don't want to do that
Yeah.
because my bone spur is right on the tip of my heel instead of like higher up behind, like higher up above the heel where it normally is. That's when it's like an easy, like your recovery is only like a week, but mine is on the tip and it's pretty big. So yeah, but back in August, I got a PRP injection, plasma rich,
Mhm.
something. I already forgot. Anyway, I got one in August, and I had like 3.5 months of relief, like almost no pain. Felt fantastic. But after about 3.5 months, the pain started gradually coming back. So once I started feeling the pain, I dialed it back on some of the running, and I'm getting another. I actually just got the appointment today for like a couple of weeks from now to get another one, because usually with those, it's normal to get another one after 4 or 5 months. But even so now, like compared to what it was back in the summer, like way less pain. I can still go for a run. I'll have some pain afterwards, maybe a day or so. It'll be tender, but it's not like I'm hobbling or it's like super painful to touch. So it is still a whole lot better than it was. And I'm hoping with that next shot, it'll get me even farther along with some sort of recovery without any major surgery taking my Achilles off of my heel, because that would be awful. So it's not really hampering me that much, because even though with the weather I wouldn't be running as much. And this past cycle, so I didn't really get to talk about this before. Usually each cycle I kind of like to go into with different goals on top of like whatever the programming is, take different like mindsets of what I really want to focus on um during the programming and on my extra days. And this past cycle was more about like energy systems and like higher aerobic or anaerobic work. So on my extra days, or even some of the other days, I was doing intervals, like shorter, medium intervals, 1, 2, 3 minute intervals. And the rower and the airdyne are perfect for those. So like that just kind of coincided. So I didn't really feel like I needed to run to get that right stimulus. So that's kind of what I've been
You can
doing this
get a
past
lot done
cycle.
without running. You can,
Yeah.
like, as I like post ultra, I was like done running, but I didn't want to lose like my cardiovascular shape, and so there are lots of ways to peel that onion.
Yeah. And well, I can't stay on those machines very long. Like I feel like max 10 minutes on either one of those, and I'm pretty much spent. There were several days where I did workouts where I would do 5 minutes on one and then go straight to the
Mhm.
other one, 5 minutes on the other. Or I would do like 3 and 3 with a movement, and then just like pause for a minute or two and then go back and repeat. So I was kind of cycling them back and forth just to get that intensity without,
That's probably my favorite form, because I have like a bunch of machines now. I've got the
Mhm.
row erg, the bike erg, a treadmill, and the ski erg. And I mean, I feel like if you put me in that format, I could do conditioning for like 2 hours. If it's like, even if it's like every 2 or 3 minutes, I'm like 3 minutes on the treadmill, 3 minutes on the skier, 3 minutes on the rower, 3 minutes on the bike. And you
Mhm.
just keep going through that cycle. It's like just enough mentally to like, know, if something else is coming. That's probably my favorite way. But then you can just maintain a heart rate. It's like, okay, I'm doing this zone 2 today or whatever. You could do that for an hour easy. It just keeps you engaged mentally a little bit more. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and it was really I like the freedom to mess with that because it's either I was going harder or I was doing zone 2, or there were even days where I wanted to do like a like muscle pump superset. So I would do like 2 or 3 really quick sets like with minimal rest and then get on those 2 at an easy conversational pace, and then like that was sort of like a rest but the intent that I wanted for that day. So it was sort of fun to mix it up, and even though I couldn't run, but I'll be back at it in a couple of weeks because I got an Air Force PT test to get ready for, and I need to stay. I need to keep my average the same across my career.
Is that 90 or above? Is that the goal?
I'm not worried about the score. It's like I've been getting like 98s, 99s, but like my
Oh,
run time has been the same for like my entire career. I've been like averaged right at 10 minutes
and you're
since
getting older, so
17
that's
years
that's
ago. Yeah,
solid.
I'm even getting faster compared to what I was like 10 years ago by like 10 seconds.
It's funny how consistency works.
Yeah.
It, it,
I haven't heard anything much training for you though.
dude, all
In a
sorts of
while.
stuff. I got updates. Well, funny story. I've been doing the 300 challenge, so trying to hit 300 training sessions this year. I'm doing the full thing. 300 calories per training session, 300 minutes per week. I've been doing it all, but I got sick one week and I was only able to do 4 training sessions in that week. Luckily, I like did 2 sessions, got like really sick, and then did like some really crappy sessions like after being down for a couple of days, but like got it in to hit all those metrics. And then I was like, I had to catch up. So I'd been doing 7 days per week for the last couple of weeks to just make. I want the average really strong. I don't want to like get behind or be cutting it close, just with things that can pop up. Um, and so it was my 7th day. I'd already done all the programming that I had written and like everything. And I was like, what are you going to do? Like, you got nothing, like, there's nothing, like, what are you going to do? And so I grabbed the jump rope and I was like, I want to do a jump rope conditioning workout. But I'm not going to lie, as much as I program and write workouts, I'm not real good at programming jump rope. I'm like, what do you do? Like, if I just want to do a jump rope workout, what do I do? So like, I did everything, man. I was doing like Tabata stuff. I have weighted jump ropes. I was throwing that in there. Then I was just doing some steady state jumping. All in all, it ended up being about 60 minutes of jump rope with Tabata and these weighted jump ropes, man. The most sore I've been in like 2 years. And I'm not just talking about my Achilles, my calves, like that. I mean, it's been like 5 or 6 days and my calves are still sore. But my whole body was sore after that. Like my hamstrings were sore. The tops of my quads, like the quads, like closer to the knee, I guess the bottom of the quad, if you will,
Hmm.
sore. Like my back sore, chest sore. Because I was using these, I have up to a 2 pound jump rope. Weighted jump rope gets really crazy. So anyway, I wanted to update everybody on that. Don't sleep on the jump rope. Like that's a serious conditioning tool. And apparently, even if you've been training consistently for years, 6 days a week, 7 days a week for most of this year, you could switch to the jump rope and still get your ass kicked. So really solid piece of training right there.
Well, like,
It was fun.
what is the longest workout you've ever done before that with a jump rope? The only one I can think of is
Yeah.
Broken Arrow when you have to do a
Broken arrow.
thousand double
Yeah.
unders, and that's like 12 minutes or so of jump
Yeah.
rope, which it was hard. And I remember being really sore, like forearms and stuff afterwards. But like you had everything else, and it's only like 12 minutes.
I know. Like it was a lot of, I think I did 5 or 6 Tabatas. So those are like 4 minutes each. And then just some steady state stuff. And then I just played around with the heavy rope a lot, which was kind of steady state, like single skips, like, but what 2 pounder, my hands and my forearms would give out before anything else on those. Like they would just start burning so much with a 2 pound jump rope. So it was just a lot of those different things. It was funny, man. I was trying not to flex on on a buddy who I was telling him about this same story. And he's like, yeah, I did 1,000 double unders for time once. It was really crazy. And I was like, that's like the end of a workout we have. Like
Hold my
that's the burn, like the cash out for one of our harder workouts called Broken Arrow. Um, so that's one thing I wanted to update you on. The second thing, how I'm trying to walk more, get more steps. Like that was like
Yep.
we talked
That's
about
why
it
you
in
got
the
a
gift
dog, kind of.
episode. It's like the main reason I got a dog. Dude, to be honest, she's been keeping me consistent as hell. There's no way I'd be walking as much as I'm walking now if I didn't get this dog. Because some days I just like absolutely don't want to, but I have to because she's
Hmm.
absolutely insane if we don't walk, if I don't walk her. And so anyway, she's been keeping consistent. I got the desk treadmill, right? And then also life is just kind of crazy with kids and everything. But I've been getting a lot of steps in. I'm not quite at the 15,000 steps average, but I'm getting closer to it. And that's like my new goal is I want to get to 15. And I'd love to by the end of the year to be averaging 20,000 steps per day. So um, at first I was like, let's just consistently hit 10. That wasn't that hard. And then I was like, okay, let's hit 15. And I think my average now is like 14,687 or something like that. So close to 15. But I've been looking over the years. So just to give all the listeners like a frame of reference, I've consistently been training 4 years, for decades, really. Like I don't take weeks off. Like, and I just don't like. It's not always like hardcore, a lot of training or a lot of volume. I'm just always doing something. I kind of have to for like just my mental health and like how I feel. Like I have to be training. So I've always been training. But I was going back because I've been wearing Garmin for years, and like a few years ago, my average steps were like 9,000. And then that's probably when like I wasn't running. And then I went through that run stage to train for the ultra marathon, and my step goal was probably like 10,000, 11,000, or my step average and I'm talking over a full 365-day time period. And now it's averaging up closer to 15,000. And I knew something was going to change in doing this because I'm like, I'm going to keep training how I train. I'm going to keep eating how I eat, but I'm going to increase my step goal. What's going to happen? I've lost 4 pounds over the last 3 months, which is like not anything significant, but I'm leaning out, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, and that's what I was hoping would happen is like, I was like, what's the easiest way to lean out without having to like be on a different kind of program or change my diet all that much? Cause I'm not tracking my diet, but I would have to guess I'm not at like a big caloric surplus or deficit. I'm probably like right at maintenance mode most of the time, but I lost 4 pounds. And that's like consistently held. So I think that's pretty awesome. I'm leaning out, and who knows, I might lean out even more. I don't want to lose a ton of weight. That's definitely not the goal. But I figured that's what was going to happen. I was like, your aerobic conditioning will get slightly better. That I haven't noticed. And I was like, you will probably lean out to some degree, lose some body fat. And that's exactly what's been happening, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm going to need to subscribe to that. I wish I could, a desk treadmill is probably something we probably won't get until we move back to the States just because there's not a lot of room in here anyway. But as the weather gets better and I'm still on creatine, I'll probably be getting off creatine at the end of this cycle. And that's when I'll probably look to lean out some more, especially because it's a lot easier to run a mile and a half when you're 8-10 pounds lighter than you are. You just move faster and it's a lot easier. Yeah. So I'll have to do that. For sure.
Yeah, I think well, and that's what I don't want my, these are the bigger things I'm paying attention to is like, I don't want my weight to accidentally creep up. Right. So I've been pretty consistent, at like 190 for a long time. And then I was like, I feel like I think 185 is like, just from having been all these different weights over the years, I feel like 185 is like the prime weight for me. It's like my maximum weight to power output ratio, like running everything, like that's a good weight for me. So that's what I was trying to get to without having to like really do anything extra. So for all the listeners out there, give it a shot, get some more steps in, get a dog, specifically a German short-haired pointer that is absolutely insane and will wreck your whole life if you're not incredibly active. And also get a walking desk treadmill that I use basically during meetings. I should use it during podcasts, but I think it would ruin the audio. I think you'd hear it.
Oh yeah, the contact. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have done on and off some macro counting this year with ParrotPal, which not a sponsor, obviously. It's one of those AI.
Is that the one I sent
AI,
you like a long time ago?
I don't think so. No, I think I just found this on my own because you were doing ChatGPT. I don't know where else you used. Liz has been doing ChatGPT this year. Both of us have been counting on and off. We'll either do like a couple days a week, every once in a while. I'll do it for like 2 weeks straight and then check in. It mostly just counts calories and protein. And while some of the estimations are off, and I had to put in my own protein and calorie values anyway, it's still like on a day-to-day estimate, it's really good. And even after I signed up a couple months later, they actually had a photo component because before it was just their whole thing was like speech to text. So you can just like turn your microphone on, tell them what you ate, and then it'll give the estimations. And now you can actually like take pictures. And so it's good for an estimation because like with when it comes to counting macros anyway, you're usually somewhat estimating because you have to look it up, and it's just sometimes it's what somebody else entered and you don't know, like if you I want to look up beef chuck roast, and there's like 5 different kinds of beef chuck, whether it's
Oh
like
yeah.
this one has 5 grams of fat, this one has 12 grams of fat. Which one is it? I don't know. So it's all an estimation, anyways, and it's been pretty good and really easy to just like, hey, I'm going to count today, and it's not a burden at all versus weighing every single thing and looking it up like it has in the past.
Yeah, and I told you NutriSense has that picture. They added that to
Mm.
their app or whatever. But dude, you just reminded me, speaking of AI, I've been experimenting with the operator. ChatGPT has an operator, which is like it can go out and do things for you on the internet, like through like a web browser. So you tell
Do
it what
my
to do.
taxes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite there yet. Give it 6 months, and it probably will be. But here's what I did recently: is I kind of have like this note that has like basically my staples for my diet right now, and it changes, it varies over time, but like just some really standard things I basically eat every day or whatever. It's a handful of stuff. Um, and so what I did was I took this list. It's just a list of foods. It's like a bullet point list of like, here are the things that I want, and I pasted it into this ChatGPT operator, and I said, go to Whole Foods, Amazon, because that's part of Amazon, right? Like, go to Whole Foods, order these things for me, have them delivered tomorrow. It does that for you. Like,
Holy crap.
I just gave it a list of foods. It went on like, and then you can leave because like it's not like this. It's not happening instantaneously. Like it's going to get faster, but right now, and you had to, I had to give it access to my Amazon account and stuff, right? Which who knows? We'll see what else they end up ordering, but uh, I did that. I set it up one time, and now I can do it every single week. I can just be like, go order my groceries, and it'll go on Amazon, do everything because my credit card's stored in Amazon, right? You could just hit submit when it's done, and boom, delivery of groceries shows up the next day. It's like or the same day, depending on like how early it gets in. But if you just think about groceries in general, right? So pre-COVID, there were some stores that were like, yeah, we'll deliver your groceries, but you had to pay a lot of extra for it or whatever. COVID changed the game there. And so we went from like having to go grocery shopping to now you can basically order your groceries. Now we're going to go one step further to where it's like, I just have this like task saved with AI and I'm like, go order my groceries. And then they just show up to my door. It's just insanity, man. It's just absolutely insanity.
That's pretty cool. I will say it would be awesome to like if you're in the kitchen and be like, oh, we need this, and you just speak in your phone. Hey, like you open that app. Hey, we need this, and it adds it to a cart. And then like you can set a timer to like every 2 or 3 days. It might just like whatever's in your cart that you said you need, it'll send. Because there's so many times where I'm like, hey, I need this, and then I might add it to our list. We have like a shared notes between Liz and I, but like you have to actually look at the notes, and then sometimes it doesn't update between her and I, and we actually have to obviously still buy them. But there's definitely things that we buy regularly on Amazon, whether it's like stuff for Landon or like magnesium or stuff like that. But if I just like open the app, hey, we need this and this, and then it just automatically knows from our purchase history, I know what you're talking about, and get it. That's definitely, I feel like that's definitely going to be. I mean, it seems like it's already is here.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just the scratching the surface of what this operator can do. It can like book flights for you, do research. Like I was just using it in the most basic way that I thought would be helpful for like maintaining my diet because now it's just super easy to like tell it to do that.
And they have like
Um,
smart fridges, which somewhat tell the inventory, but that I feel like that's going to be the next step of like, hey, we know you're a quarter of a jug left on milk. We've already ordered it for you. Like, holy shit.
I've seen some systems in the past that like tried to do that and like it's never worked out great. But I think we're getting there. Like I mean 3 years from now, I don't even know what the world's going to be like, but I think it's going to be insane. Like I think AI is going to be crazy. But
I
let's
already
let's
can't keep up.
let's dive into the Project Delta, man. As before we go on any further, um, but it was good to catch up. Good to get all the updates. But Project Delta is coming for all the athletes who kind of heard. That's kind of the next step here of like what we're combining for the next cycle of programming Garage Mathlete. I'm really excited about it. I've been testing it. But I'm going to throw this over to Joe because he's going to be asking me some questions about Project Delta, and we'll see what he's got.
So So this is for the hard to kill the next cycle, and with combining all of the different areas. So in the past, for those of you who've been on hard to kill, the last three ish cycles, they've had sort of their themes and been in a way somewhat formulaic. So like yeah, the IWT where it's like this is the lower body IWT day, this is the upper body day, and then we had got to body geo and now full body geo, and so they've been somewhat formulaic. But so from a bird's eye view, you could see consistently, each week was somewhat the same, but it was just on a linear progression and changes and things up. Would you say compared to past cycles, is this the same sort of formulaic, or is it going to be much more varied week to week?
It's going to be a lot more varied week to week because when we have switched it up with going from like a really structured approach to the core theme of like the hard to kill method, which is those 13 different areas over the 30-day window. And like a little bit more explanation on that because we train more times in that over the course of a month, but it's like we can have a major and a minor. And this is what I didn't get into in that programming series as much. And so there will be a focus. It's not like it'll be just balancing it or just these 13 areas. There will be a focus of either strength or strength endurance, or there'll always be a major and a minor. So we'll have the major of like, okay, we're focusing on strength endurance with a minor in aerobic endurance, and I'm not saying that's what the next cycle for Project Delta will be, but it will be a lot more varied week to week to answer your question, because that I think that's a lot of what keeps athletes engaged, like mentally. And we already know that the method works even when you're splitting things up over the course of 30 days. So it will be very refreshing to a lot of the athletes who want to see more variation week to week.
Okay, so a lot more variety over the 12 weeks, and cycle to cycle, it's going to still be similar, but it'll just be tweaking what the majors and the minors are. So you might see more aerobic one, more anaerobic the next, but it'll still be somewhat familiar.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, I went over that the programming series and I talk about the 13 different areas that we train. But if you really were to like bucket them, it's like we have strength, and then within strength there are four different ways, right? And then we have endurance, and then within endurance there are four different ways. And then we have, let's just call it energy systems, and within energy systems there are three different ways and mixed modal ways. So it's like we're training strength, endurance, and energy systems. Like those are the three big picture items that we're always going to be hitting. And then it's just a matter of execution of like how detailed do we want to get each cycle. And so yeah, each cycle, so 12 weeks, will have a major and a minor. And then, that'll be what the athlete can expect ultimately see the most progress in. Um, and then week to week will be varied. Cycle to cycle will be structured in like what the target is, and then wave to wave, which is 4 weeks to 4 weeks, you'll see just kind of a change in the style of workout of like how we're trying to hit a specific goal.
Okay. Now, moving into this sort of style of programming with all the areas, would you say it changes the outlook of like, so we program in 12-week cycles, and cycle to cycle athletes might change, but do you think it changes sort of the mindset of taking a longer approach to the program, whereas like 12 weeks is good, but you should probably do at least two cycles of it to get the full scope of it? Or is it still like okay, it's good to do 12 weeks and then do something else?
I honestly, and we used to like have athletes who joke about this back in the day, but like hard to kill for life. You remember that? Like that's honestly, for me personally, this is something I've been dabbling with and like doing for years. And I'm not saying you need to do it for the rest of your life, but it's a program in which you can. Like that's the thing. So if you want to see a lot of progress, do it for 12 weeks, at a minimum. But should you do multiple cycles? Absolutely. And the reason I think that you should do, stack 12, 24, 36, 48 weeks is because it's just checking so many boxes that other programs aren't checking. And my main goal is performance and longevity, or goals, should I say. It's like, I want you to have performance. I want you to hit all the principles of like living a longer life through being fit and healthy while reducing your risk and chance of injury. And so the fact that those are the goals of of the track in and of itself means it's meant to do for a very long time. Because like we're only getting older. Like I'm getting older, you're getting older. Like we need fitness that can help us do what we want, but be able to be done in perpetuity. And that's not some of the fitness I have chased in the past when I'm going for like extremely heavy back squats or extremely fast mile times. Like I still want some of that performance, but I don't want to chase that so much so that I'm going to get injured, repeatedly. Like I don't want to be down that path again. So this new blend of what we're doing with Project Delta is like, how do we hit it? Well, how do we check all these boxes? Like, how do we have some of that performance? How do we make sure that we're living long, healthy, fit lives, but at the same time, reducing that chance of injury so we can just keep doing this forever?
And I will say, just like my own mindset with, most time I'm on hard to kill track, and programming is only 4 days a week, and I always work out 5 days a week. So that means there's always a fifth day where I can do whatever I want. And so if there's hard to kill isn't hitting an area that I want to hit more of, then the fifth day I'm going to hit more of on that day. So you can use that as a governor of your fifth or sixth day of workouts, and just have so that all you have to do is think of 1 day a week, and then you just follow the program for the rest of the day. So it takes a lot of brain power away from, building or deciding which another program or anything else you need to do day to day with working out.
Just basically like calf raises, bicep curls, and bench press. It's like
Yeah,
that's
that's
what.
the fifth day. That's it. Sexy. I mean, it used to be dubbed Sexy Saturday.
Sexy Saturday. Yep, that's what you got
uh,
to do.
um, let's see. So in the past, some of the past cycles. So going back to IWT, some of the one of the key components or the key to success with that is the lift. You had to be powerful. The main thing was to be dynamic and to go hard on the conditioning. I feel like this current cycle with the full body splits is that on a given split, you needed to go really hard on those efforts because you're pretty much only training that once that day. So it's not like you need to save yourself. What would you say are keys to success in this style of programming? If there's anything specific of like mindset for certain days.
I would say it's similar to the approach on why I've been experimenting with like the full body splits. Is my favorite part of full body splits is one, the science backs it up. That full body splits work, can build muscle, can be incredibly effective. And then the second thing, and the most important reason I like to program full body, is because of how engaged you can be mentally into the workout, because for a fact, like, this is the only set of legs, or I have two set of legs. Like it's just not as much as opposed to like, "Oof, okay, we got 7 like different exercises on my legs today. This is going to be hard to keep me in the game mentally." That's my actual favorite part of full body splits, is like, you just have to stay engaged. Like you just have to give it your all. And it's that same principle with Project Delta. It's just not going to be, body part specific. Like we will have full body workouts, but like going back to just kind of your question is like, what's important is like bring it. Like bring I don't want to say bring intensity, because it doesn't always have to be intensity, but I say bring focus. Bring focus to every training session, knowing that something like today's Monday, maybe it's a zone 2 mixed modal workout. So just really focus on keeping your heart rate in that zone 2, and exercise and executing the exercises in a really clean fashion with really good movement patterns, because it's zone 2. You don't have to worry about going fast or like anything else. And know that, like, hey, tomorrow is short and intense. And so the next day I'm going to be doing something completely different. The modalities are going to change, the exercise is going to change. And so again, it's keeping you in the game psychologically. And I think with the variation that we're adding, it's like a structured variation. It's going to allow you to keep mentally engaged. And I think that's where a lot of people lack, or start to not see results, is they start treating fitness or their training as like a checklist. They're just like, yeah, I checked the box. And it's like, to some degree, yes, you had some consistency, you got it done. I'm not gonna say that was bad in any way, shape, or form. But if you really want to see the progress that you're saying that you want to see, you need to be focused and engaged during the training session. And the mindset involved in that, it takes, okay, well, we're not doing the same damn thing every single day. We're even week to week. So just have fun with the different modalities. And we're going to label them this time too, in the programming. because I want athletes to be a little bit more aware now that like I've kind of gone over the full method of the 13 training methods. I want people to know like, hey, today is mixed modal aerobic, or today is strength endurance, or today, that way you can go into that training session knowing like, oh, today's a strength endurance day. I kind of know what that is based off of the podcast like Jerred did on it. So I'm going to focus on making sure this is a great strength endurance session. So just stay engaged, stay focused with every training session, and you're going to see a lot of results in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it's also why I know each cycle personally, I always pick one or two areas that I really need to even more hyper focus on this cycle. So when it comes up on the program, and I know to really make sure those are my good fresh days, and then on my fifth day or whatever it is to like really pay attention to. I don't know how much you've looked at other concurrent training programs around, but like, what would you say Hard to Kill coming up would have that's different from a lot of the other claimed concurrent training programs?
Yeah, all the other concurrent training programs out there, a lot of people are calling it hybrid training, all this kind of stuff is like they're doing the pickles and ice cream approach that like I coined years ago. It was like a popular YouTube video that we had back in the day. And that's where you're taking two things that don't really have any business being together and you add them together. And it's not that it's wrong, it's just it lacks creativity. It lacks like like most of the stuff out there you see is like some form of bodybuilding and running.
Hmm.
That's it. Like that's the market for concurrent training right now. It's like, but what if you don't want to be a runner? And what if you think bodybuilding sessions are like scraping nails on a chalkboard because they're so boring? And like, and that's just how I feel personally about like most bodybuilding stuff now. It's just because I did it for years. It's just so boring. So anyway, I'd say that's the biggest difference is like most concurrent training programs are like, here's your strength day. Tomorrow's your conditioning day. The day after that'll be your strength day. And then the day after that's your conditioning day. Or worse, they have an AM and a PM training session. They're like AM strength, PM run. Then the next day, AM strength, PM run. The reason I say that's worse is because the sustainability of that for average human beings who aren't influencers, who just have like, time to just train all day and post about it on Instagram, like for the rest of us with real lives, that's not a sustainable AM PM training block. It's just not going to happen. So I feel like we have a way more scientific approach. That's not just monkey see, monkey do. Like I run, you run. I did this lift, you do this lift. It's very scientific in nature. There's a lot of research backing it up, and we've just been doing it forever. So I think that's the biggest thing is like most concurrent training programs or hybrid programs out there, they lack creativity, they lack scientific backing, and they're just doing the same crap over and over again. It's just as easy to get bored of those programs as it is any other standard program that has you do leg day every Monday and like all that crap.
In the past, and when we first started working out, it was the magazines, the Men's Health or whatever magazines. You go to see some celebrity and you do what the celebrity workout was on in the magazine. Now, with influencers, anybody can be that like magazine workout routine. Hey, here, do what I did because it worked for me.
Dude, that's what's funny is like people think things are new. Nothing's new. Things are just repeating in different mediums, right? It's like you're 100% right. It's like, yeah, we used to like, yeah, grab a magazine that would have like the 300 Spartan workout, and you're like, oh yeah, I got to do this, and so you try out the workout, and then it's no different. It's like, okay, those people looked awesome for a short window in which they filmed a movie with completely unsustainable fitness. And so we're going to go mimic that approach, right? And it's no different than what's worse about Instagram, though, is like how much it has this monkey see, monkey do. Is like, oh, you're fit. You look awesome. I want to do what you do. But TRT right now is more common than like people getting like good sleep, like it's just like people aren't doing those things. So a lot of the influencers, and I see the appeal, like if you're trying to build a business and you don't really have any business skills, you're like, okay, you know what? I have a decent following on Instagram. I'm just going to take a bunch of TRT. I'm going to look awesome. People are going to follow me. And it's that sex appeal, right? It works. But then and I don't have any problem with people taking TRT. Like that's a personal decision. What I have a problem when people don't talk about the fact that they have done that or that they do that. That's where I have a problem with it, because if you have 100,000 Instagram followers and people are training, like trying to follow your advice or whatever on your training method, and you're taking TRT that's like super physiological doses that could rival just being on straight steroids, you're recovering different than a normal human being, and you're able to put out more work than a regular human being. So that's where I think there's this really bad gray area. I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of years, man. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think that's what this episode's about, so I'm not going to dive into it. But that's the new thing, is like people want to be insta famous, and they'll do anything. They'll sacrifice their health, body, whatever to do it. And then a lot of people follow them in the process to buy their supplements or do their training, even though most of it's a facade.
Liver King. Just
Yeah.
comes to
Yeah.
mind.
He's like a perfect example of that. And then he got caught, right? And then there are a lot of other people who like, I can't even believe that people thought Liver King was ever not on something. Like that just shows you how much people don't know about like what the human body looks like, even with consistent training over decades. It's like, no, bro, Liver King didn't just like have discipline for 20 years. Like that's not what you look like at the end of that cycle.
Yeah. That's all the questions I got for Project Delta.
Cool,
I'm
man.
excited to
Well,
see how it looks.
yeah, I'm excited for the athletes to try it. And so, as I mentioned on the previous podcast, that's coming up. That's going to be the next training cycle, specifically on the hard to kill track. So if you want to be a part of Project Delta, you could go sign up for Garage Gym Athlete trial right now. You can go to garagegymathlete.com, sign up. You'll be in the system. You can kind of get your feet wet with what we have currently, but the next one doesn't pop off until it's like end of March, beginning of April. Is that, do you know the exact date? I mean, it's got to be around there somewhere.
I think it's usually the third week. I could almost tell you. Let's see. Fit week will be March 24th, and that means the cycle will officially start March 31st.
March 31st. There we go. That's Project Delta official start date. So if you want to be a part of it, yeah, you can join now. You can wait until then. Either one. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. And so for all of our athletes out there, if you want to be on that, you just switch to the hard to kill track. If you're not already on there, if you are on the hard to kill track already, just stay there, and it'll be populated for you in the next couple weeks. And anybody who's looking to do this style of training, like I said, go to Garage Gym Athlete, sign up for the free trial. We'd love to have you. But that's it for this one. Remember, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you.